The discovery. The vast expanse of space stretched out before the Xylaxian exploration vessel, Cosmic Seeker. Captain Nick Starweaver, a seasoned explorer with iridescent scales and multifaceted eyes, stood at the helm, her tentacles dancing across the ship's control panel. The mission was simple: chart unexplored sectors of the galaxy and catalog any potentially habitable worlds. "Captain, we're picking up unusual readings from the third planet in this system," reported First Officer Czar, his antennae twitching with excitement. Nix's bioluminescent patterns flickered with interest. On screen, Czar. The main view screen lit up, revealing a blue and green marble suspended in the inky blackness of space. White wisps of cloud swirled across its surface, and vast oceans glimmered in the light of the system's yellow star. "Initial scans complete, Captain," chirped Vex, the ship's lead scientist, her gelatinous form pulsing with each word. "The planet's parameters are impossible." Nix's scales shifted to a deep blue of concern. "Explain, Vex." "The gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. Atmospheric composition is primarily nitrogen and oxygen, with trace amounts of other gases. Surface temperature averages 15 degrees Celsius, with extreme variations from poles to equator. Active plate tectonics, strong magnetic field. And by the cosmic egg, the biodiversity readings are off the charts." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Czar was the first to speak, his voice barely above a whisper. "Captain, those readings, they're consistent with a Class 13 Deathworld." Nix's bioluminescence pulsed rapidly, a sign of her growing agitation. "That's impossible. Nothing could evolve on such a hostile world, let alone achieve spaceflight." As if in response to her statement, a crude metal contraption suddenly appeared on their scanners, blasting out of the planet's atmosphere in a trail of fire and smoke. "By the stars," Czar gasped. "They've achieved rudimentary space travel." Vex's gelatinous form rippled with excitement. "Captain, we're picking up electromagnetic transmissions from the surface. It appears to be music." With a flick of her tentacle, Nix authorized the transmission. The bridge was suddenly filled with a cacophony of sounds, a driving rhythm, screeching instruments, and a voice that could only be described as passionately aggressive. "Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games." "Shut it off," Nix commanded, her scales now a vibrant orange of confusion and alarm. What in the name of the cosmic egg was that? Vex's form pulsed rapidly as she analyzed the data. "It appears to be a form of artistic expression, Captain. The creatures of this world call it rock music. Fascinating." Nix took a moment to compose herself, her scales slowly returning to their normal hue. "All right, let's approach this logically. We've discovered a Class 13 Deathworld that not only harbors life, but has produced a spacefaring civilization. This goes against everything we know about planetary development and evolution." Czar nodded, his antennae twitching thoughtfully. "Indeed, Captain. The Galactic Council will want to know about this immediately." "Agreed," Nix said, her tentacles moving swiftly across the control panel. "But first, we need more information. Vex, I want a complete analysis of their transmissions. See if you can decipher their language and learn more about their culture." "With pleasure, Captain." Vex bubbled enthusiastically. As the Cosmic Seeker settled into orbit around the blue planet, the crew worked tirelessly to gather as much information as possible. They intercepted television broadcasts, radio signals, and internet transmissions, piecing together a picture of the planet's dominant species. "Captain," Czar reported after several hours of intense study, "we've compiled an initial report on the inhabitants. They call themselves humans, and their planet is known as Earth." Nix's scales shimmered with anticipation. "Go on." "They're bipedal mammals, with a complex social structure and diverse cultures. Their technology is primitive by our standards, but they're advancing at an unprecedented rate. And Captain, some of their activities are, well, baffling." "How so?" Nix inquired, Her curiosity piqued. Czar's antennae drooped slightly. They voluntarily engage in activities that risk life and limb. They call it extreme sports, jumping from great heights with nothing but a fabric canopy to slow their fall, hurling themselves down icy mountains on planks of wood, even fighting each other for entertainment. Vex chimed in, her gelatinous form quivering with excitement. And that's not all, Captain. Their entertainment industry is fascinating. They create elaborate fictional scenarios and act them out for others to watch. Some of these movies even depict encounters with alien life forms. Nyx's scales shifted through a rainbow of colors as she processed this information. So let me get this straight. These humans not only survive on a Class 13 Deathworld, but actively seek out dangerous situations for fun. And they've imagined meeting aliens long before actually encountering us. Precisely, Captain, Czar confirmed. For a moment, Nyx was silent, her multifaceted eyes focused on the image of Earth rotating slowly on the view screen. Then, to the surprise of her crew, she began to laugh. A melodious sound that filled the bridge. "Oh, this is going to be interesting," she chuckled, her scales now a bright, excited yellow. "We've stumbled upon a species that by all rights shouldn't exist. They're resilient, imaginative, and apparently fearless. The Galactic Council is in for quite a shock." As the Cosmic Seeker continued its orbit around Earth, the crew couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. They had discovered not just a new world, but a species that defied all their preconceptions about life in the universe. "Czar, Vex," Nyx called, her voice filled with determination. "Prepare a comprehensive report for the Galactic Council. Include all our findings, no matter how outlandish they may seem, and begin preparations for first contact. Something tells me these humans are going to change everything we thought we knew about the universe." As the crew bustled with activity, Nyx turned her gaze back to the view screen, watching the blue planet spin serenely in the void of space. A world of impossibilities, a species of contradictions. Earth and its humans were about to make their grand entrance onto the galactic stage, and Nyx couldn't wait to see what would happen next. First contact. The Cosmic Seeker hung in low Earth orbit, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to human detection systems. Captain Nyx Starweaver paced the bridge, her scales shifting through various hues as she contemplated their next move. "Captain," Czar called, his antennae twitching nervously, "the Galactic Council has responded to our report." Nyx's bioluminescent patterns flashed with anticipation. "And they're skeptical, to say the least. They've authorized first contact, but have advised extreme caution. They seem to believe the humans might be too volatile for peaceful interaction." Vex's gelatinous form rippled with indignation. "Volatile. But they haven't seen what we've seen. The art, the music, the endless creativity. And the wars, the pollution, the reality TV," Czar countered, his exoskeleton clicking softly as he shuddered. Nyx held up a tentacle for silence. "Both valid points. These humans are a study in contradictions, but the Council has given us the go-ahead, and I intend to make the most of it. Vex, have you determined the best way to initiate contact?" The scientist's form pulsed excitedly. "Yes, Captain. I've analyzed their global communication networks and identified several key individuals we could approach. However, I have an unconventional suggestion." Nyx's scales shimmered with curiosity. "Go on." "Well," Vex bubbled, "humans seem to respond well to spectacle. What if, instead of a discreet meeting, we made our presence known to everyone at once?" Czar's antennae stood straight up in alarm. "That's madness. The panic it would cause." "Might be just what we need," Nyx finished, her scales now a bright, determined orange. "Vex, you're brilliant. If we approach in secret, they might think we have something to hide. But a grand entrance, that's something they'll understand." And so, on a clear night when half the planet was facing the stars, the Cosmic Seeker disengaged its cloaking device. All across Earth, people looked up to see a massive, shimmering vessel materialize in the sky. Its iridescent hull reflected the city lights below, creating a dazzling display that was impossible to ignore. In New York, Tokyo, London, and countless other cities, crowds gathered in streets and parks, their faces turned scoured in awe. Social media exploded with photos, videos, and wild speculations. News anchors struggled to maintain composure as they reported on the extraordinary event unfolding above them. Aboard the Cosmic Seeker, Nix watched the humans' reactions on multiple screens. "It's time," she said, her voice filled with determination. "Tsar, initiate the global broadcast." On every television, radio, and internet-connected device across the planet, the familiar programming was suddenly replaced by an image of Captain Nix Starweaver. Her alien appearance, iridescent scales, multifaceted eyes, and gently waving tentacles caused a collective gasp around the world. "People of Earth," Nix began, her words translated into every major language simultaneously. "I am Captain Nix Starweaver of the Xylaxian exploration vessel Cosmic Seeker. We come in peace, seeking friendship and cultural exchange." As Nix continued her speech, explaining their mission and expressing hope for peaceful interaction, the reactions on Earth were as varied as humanity itself. In a small apartment in Seoul, Lee Ninji, a young software developer, watched with wide-eyed wonder. "I knew it," she whispered, her fingers flying across her keyboard as she logged onto forums she'd frequented for years. "We're not alone." Half a world away, in a Houston control room, NASA scientists scrambled to make sense of the situation. Dr. Aisha Patel, the lead astrobiologist, couldn't contain her excitement. "Do you realize what this means?" she exclaimed to her colleagues. "Every theory we've had about life in the universe just got turned on its head." In London, at 10 Downing Street, Prime Minister Eleanor Hughes was already on a secure line with other world leaders. "Yes, Mr. President," she said, her voice steady despite the circumstances. "I agree. We need a unified response. And no, I don't think immediately pointing our nuclear arsenals at them is the right move." As governments around the world grappled with the situation, ordinary citizens took to the streets. In Times Square, an impromptu party had broken out, with people of all backgrounds coming together to celebrate this momentous occasion. Street vendors quickly capitalized on the event, selling hastily made "I Survived First Contact" t-shirts. But not everyone was celebrating. In a small town in the American Midwest, Pastor John Wilkins addressed his frightened congregation. "Fear not," he intoned, his voice rising with fervor. "For if God created the heavens and the earth, surely these visitors too are part of his grand design." Back on the Cosmic Seeker, Nix concluded her address. "We invite your leaders to meet with us in a neutral location of your choosing. We await your response and look forward to peaceful dialogue." As the transmission ended, Tsar turned to Nix, his antennae drooping with worry. "Captain, are you sure this was wise? Look at the chaos we've caused." Nix's scales shimmered with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "Chaos, yes, but also joy, wonder, and unity. Humanity is rallying, Tsar. They're coming together in the face of the unknown. It's beautiful." Vex bobbed in agreement, her gelatinous form rippling with enthusiasm. "Captain, incoming transmission. It's from someone called the Secretary General of the United Nations." Nix's bioluminescent patterns pulsed rapidly. "This is it, crew. Our first official communication. Put it through." The view screen flickered to life, showing the face of a distinguished human woman. Her expression was a mixture of awe and determination as she addressed the alien captain. "Greetings, Captain Starweaver. I am Secretary General Amara Okoro of the United Nations. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth. We accept your invitation for a meeting and propose a neutral location, our International Space Station." Nix's scales shifted to a pleased purple. "A space station. How delightful. We accept, Secretary General Okoro. We look forward to this historic meeting. As the transmission ended, Nyx turned to her crew, her multifaceted eyes gleaming with excitement. Prepare a delegation. We're about to make history. In the days that followed, Earth was a whirlwind of activity. World leaders convened emergency sessions, religious figures sought meaning in ancient texts, and ordinary citizens alternated between celebration and panic buying. Meanwhile, aboard the International Space Station, astronauts and cosmonauts worked feverishly to prepare for the most important guests in human history. As the Cosmic Seeker's shuttle approached the ISS, Captain Nyx Starweaver felt a flutter in her chromatophores. This was it, the moment that would change two civilizations forever. With a soft thud and a hiss of equalizing pressure, the airlock opened. Captain Nyx Starweaver, First Officer Czar, and Science Officer Vex stepped into the International Space Station, face to face with wide-eyed human astronauts. For a moment, there was silence as two species, born on worlds light years apart, took in the sight of each other. Then, NASA Commander Sarah Chen stepped forward, a warm smile on her face, and extended her hand. "Welcome to the International Space Station, Captain Starweaver. On behalf of humanity, we're honored to meet you." Nyx, having studied human customs, reached out a tentacle and gently grasped Commander Chen's hand. "The honor is ours, Commander. We have much to learn from each other." As cameras broadcasted this historic handshake to billions of viewers on Earth, a new chapter in galactic history began. Humanity had taken its first step into a larger universe, and the universe, it seemed, was just as excited to meet them. Learning about humanity. In the weeks following the historic first contact, Earth became a hub of unprecedented activity. The initial shock had given way to a frenzy of curiosity, both from humans eager to learn about their galactic neighbors and from the Xylaxian visitors fascinated by the paradoxical nature of humanity. Captain Nyx Starweaver found herself in the unusual position of being both a diplomat and a student of human culture. The United Nations had established a special committee for extraterrestrial relations, and Nyx spent countless hours in meetings, explaining Xylaxian society and galactic politics, while absorbing everything she could about Earth's diverse cultures. One particularly memorable meeting took place in the newly christened Harmony Hall at the UN headquarters in New York. Nyx, her scales a thoughtful blue, addressed a room full of world leaders and scientific experts. "And so, you see," she concluded, her tentacles gesturing at a holographic display of the galaxy, "Earth is located in what we call the Crucible Zone, a region of space with particularly harsh conditions. The fact that life evolved here at all is remarkable. That it produced a sentient, spacefaring species is, well, it's unprecedented." Dr. Aisha Patel, the NASA astrobiologist who had been liaison to the Xylaxian delegation, leaned forward. "Captain Starweaver, you keep referring to Earth as a Class 13 Deathworld. Could you elaborate on what that means?" Nyx's scales shifted to a lecturing purple. "Certainly. Our classification system for potentially habitable worlds ranges from Class 1, paradise-like planets, to Class 15, utterly uninhabitable hellscapes. Earth, with its extreme temperature variations, tectonic activity, robust pathogenic biosphere, and myriad of other challenges, falls firmly into Class 13. By our understanding, it should be impossible for sapient life to evolve here, let alone thrive." A murmur ran through the assembled humans. President Elena Rodriguez of Argentina spoke up, her voice filled with pride. "And yet here we are. We've not only survived but built civilizations, created art, and reached for the stars." Nyx's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with admiration. "Indeed, Madam President, your resilience is inspiring and somewhat terrifying, if I'm being honest." As the meeting continued, First Officer Czar and Science Officer Vex were having their own adventures in human culture. They had been invited to experience various aspects of human life, and their reports back to the Cosmic Seeker were a mixture of wonder, confusion, and occasional horror. Tsar's antennae were practically tied in knots as he described his visit to a human amusement park. "Captain, they have these massive metal constructions called roller coasters. Humans willingly strap themselves in and subject their bodies to extreme accelerations and inversions. For fun, I tried one and, well, let's just say it's a good thing my exoskeleton is waterproof." Vex, on the other hand, was bubbling with excitement after attending a symphony orchestra performance. "It was magnificent, Captain. The way they manipulate acoustic waves to create emotional responses. I've never experienced anything like it. I started a petition to introduce human music to the Galactic Council's Cultural Preservation Initiative. But it wasn't just the Zalaxians learning about humanity. All across Earth, people were adapting to the reality of extraterrestrial life in their own unique ways. In a small town in Japan, local craftsmen had begun incorporating Zalaxian-inspired designs into traditional pottery, creating a fusion of Earth and alien aesthetics that was quickly becoming a global sensation. Silicon Valley saw a surge of startups aimed at developing xenocompatible technologies, hoping to bridge the gap between human and alien tech. Memes featuring Captain Nix and her crew had gone viral, with one particularly popular image macro featuring Nix's confused face and the caption, "Humans gonna human." Religious leaders worldwide were grappling with the theological implications of alien life. The Pope had issued a statement welcoming the Zalaxians as fellow creatures of God, while other faiths were busy reinterpreting ancient texts in light of the new cosmic reality. Yet, as humanity opened its arms to the stars, not everyone was celebrating. Anti-alien sentiment had begun to simmer in some quarters, with conspiracy theories and xenophobic rhetoric spreading through certain corners of the internet. During a private moment on the Cosmic Seeker's observation deck, Nix shared her concerns with Dr. Patel. "I worry, Aisha," she said, her scales a troubled gray. "Some of your people seem to fear us, despite our peaceful intentions." Dr. Patel nodded, her expression serious. "Fear of the unknown is deeply ingrained in human psychology, Nix. It's the flip side of our curiosity. But for every person spreading fear, there are thousands more embracing this new era with open arms and minds." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the bridge. "Captain," Tsar's voice crackled over the intercom, "we're detecting a massive energy surge from the planet's surface. It appears to be a transmission of some kind." Rushing to the bridge, Nix and Dr. Patel arrived just in time to see a holographic display light up with a message. It was being broadcast on all frequencies, powerful enough to be detected light years away. The message was simple, repeating in every human language, and followed by a mathematical sequence describing Earth's location in the galaxy. "To all sentient beings in the universe, we are humanity. We are here. We are ready to join the galactic community. Come and meet us, if you dare." Nix's scales cycled through a rainbow of emotions as she turned to Dr. Patel. Did your people just challenge the entire galaxy?" Dr. Patel couldn't help but laugh. "Oh, Nix, you've only begun to scratch the surface of understanding humanity. We're not just saying hello to the universe. We're daring it to say hello back." As news of the transmission spread across Earth, a wave of excitement and apprehension swept through the global population. Humanity had just announced its presence to the cosmos at large, with all the bravado and recklessness that had become their hallmark. Nix, watching the reactions unfold on multiple screens, felt her chromatophores pulse with a complex mix of admiration and concern. These humans, these impossible beings from a world that should have killed them, were about to shake the foundations of galactic society. As she composed an urgent message to the Galactic Council, warning them of the impending arrival of humanity on the cosmic stage, Nix couldn't help but feel a thrill of excitement. The universe was about to get a lot more interesting, and she had a front-row seat to the show. "Tsar, Vex," she called, her scales settling into a determined orange. "Prepare for an extended mission. Something tells me we're going to be very busy introducing humanity to the rest of the galaxy." As the Cosmic Seeker's engines hummed to life, ready to escort Earth's first official delegation to the stars. Captain Nick Starweaver realized that her crew had discovered far more than a new species. They had found the catalysts for a new era of galactic history, and the adventure was only just beginning. Galactic politics. The grand halls of the Galactic Council on Centauri Prime buzzed with an energy not seen in millennia. Representatives from thousands of species filled the chamber, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. At the center of attention stood a small delegation of humans, led by United Earth Ambassador Zora Kamal. Captain Nick Starweaver and her crew stood nearby, acting as intermediaries between humanity and the wider galactic community. Nix's scales shimmered with anticipation as she watched Ambassador Kamal prepare to address the council. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, Zora began, her voice clear and confident. I stand before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as an emissary of a species that has fought against impossible odds to reach the stars. The chamber fell silent, all eyes, and various other sensory organs, fixed on the human speaker. We come from a world you call a Class 13 Deathworld. Every day of our existence has been a battle against our own planet. But we have not merely survived, we have thrived. We have created art that moves the soul, music that stirs the heart, and technology that pushes the boundaries of possibility. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. Nix noticed several council members shifting uncomfortably. We know we are newcomers to this grand cosmic community, Zora continued. We have much to learn, but we also have much to offer. We bring with us resilience, creativity, and an unquenchable spirit of exploration. We ask for a chance to prove our worth and to contribute to the greater good of all sentient life. As Zora concluded her speech, the council chamber erupted into a cacophony of debate. Some members were intrigued by the potential of these hardy newcomers, while others expressed concern over the unpredictable nature of a species forged in such harsh conditions. High Counselor Zixnath, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, raised a glowing appendage for silence. We have heard the words of Earth's ambassador. Its melodious voice resonated. Now we must decide. Shall we welcome humanity into the galactic fold, or do they pose too great a risk? What followed was a debate that would be remembered in the annals of galactic history. Species after species voiced their opinions, concerns, and hopes regarding humanity's inclusion. The Vexteri, a race of silicon-based life forms, argued for caution. These humans come from a world of constant warfare. How can we trust them to abide by galactic peace accords? In contrast, the Aetherian Collective, a gestalt consciousness of gaseous beings, spoke in favor of humanity. Their adaptability could bring fresh perspectives to age-old problems. We cannot ignore the potential benefits of their inclusion. As the debate raged on, Ambassador Kamal and her team worked tirelessly, answering questions, addressing concerns, and showcasing the best of human culture and achievement. They set up holographic displays of Earth's greatest artworks, played symphonies that moved even the most stoic council members, and demonstrated human technology that, while primitive by galactic standards, showed remarkable ingenuity. Captain Nix found herself increasingly acting as an advocate for humanity. Esteemed council, she addressed the chamber, her scales a passionate orange. I have lived among these humans. I have seen their capacity for both great destruction and incredible kindness. Yes, they are unpredictable. Yes, they may disrupt the status quo. But isn't that precisely what our stagnating galactic community needs? The debate stretched on for days, with no clear consensus in sight. It seemed that humanity's fate in the galactic community hung in the balance. Then, in a moment that would go down in both human and galactic history, Ambassador Kamal made an unprecedented proposal. Honored members of the council, she said, her voice filled with determination. We understand your concerns, so let us prove ourselves. We propose a series of challenges, tests that will demonstrate our worth, our adaptability, and our commitment to galactic peace. The council chamber buzzed with surprise and intrigue. High Counselor Zixnath's crystalline form pulsed with interest. "What kind of challenges do you propose, Ambassador?" Zara smiled, a glint of that uniquely human blend of confidence and recklessness in her eyes. "Anything you deem appropriate, High Counselor. Test our intellect, our creativity, our physical capabilities. Push us to our limits. We will show you what humanity is truly capable of." The proposal sent shockwaves through the council. Never in the history of galactic politics had a new species volunteered for such scrutiny. After hours of deliberation, the council agreed to humanity's proposal. What followed was a series of trials that would become legendary across the galaxy. Humans were pitted against the most challenging problems, the most dangerous environments, and the most complex diplomatic situations the council could devise. In the intellectual arena, a team of human scientists and philosophers engaged in a debate with the quantum cognition engine of Altair VI, holding their own against the most advanced AI in the known universe. To test their adaptability, a group of human explorers was dropped into the caustic swamps of Selmar AX, a world so inhospitable it had never been successfully colonized. Not only did the humans survive, but they also managed to establish a small outpost, much to the astonishment of the observing council members. The final challenge was a test of diplomacy. Humans were tasked with mediating a centuries-old conflict between two notoriously intractable species. Using a combination of empathy, creativity, and what could only be described as sheer human stubbornness, they managed to broker a peace agreement where countless others had failed. As the challenges concluded, the Galactic Council found itself faced with undeniable evidence of humanity's potential. High Counselor Zixnath addressed the chamber once more. "We have witnessed the capabilities of these humans," it proclaimed. "They have shown us resilience born from their harsh world, creativity sparked by adversity, and a spirit of cooperation that transcends their competitive nature. I propose we welcome humanity into the Galactic Council, not as subordinates, but as full and equal members." The vote that followed was nearly unanimous. As the council chamber erupted in a mix of applause, bioluminescent displays, and various other species-specific expressions of approval, Ambassador Kamal turned to Captain Nix, tears of joy in her eyes. "We did it, Nix," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "We've taken our place among the stars." Nix's scales shimmered with pride and affection. "No, Ambassador, you did it. You showed the galaxy the true spirit of humanity. And I have a feeling this is only the beginning." As news of humanity's acceptance spread across Earth, celebrations erupted on every continent. The species that had once gazed at the stars in wonder was now reaching out to touch them, ready to make its mark on the cosmic stage. Aboard the Cosmic Seeker, Captain Nick Starweaver watched the celebrations on Earth with a mixture of joy and trepidation. Humanity had proven itself worthy of joining the galactic community, but she couldn't help but wonder, how would the galaxy change now that these improbable, impossible humans were part of it? As if reading her thoughts, First Officer Czar approached. "Captain," he said, his antennae twitching with excitement, "we're receiving requests from dozens of species. They all want to establish diplomatic relations with Earth." Nix's scales shifted to a determined blue. "Well then, Czar," she said, a smile in her multifaceted eyes, "it looks like our job is far from over. The galaxy is about to get a lot more interesting, and we have front-row seats." As the Cosmic Seeker prepared to escort the first wave of alien diplomats to Earth, Nix couldn't help but feel that they were on the brink of a new era in galactic history, an era shaped by the indomitable, unpredictable, and utterly fascinating spirit of humanity. A new era. 5 years had passed since humanity's dramatic entrance into the galactic community, and the universe would never be the same. Earth had become a hub of interstellar activity, its cities now adorned with alien architecture, and its skies filled with ships from across the galaxy. Captain Nick Starweaver stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Harmony Station, a massive space habitat orbiting Earth. Her scales shimmered with a mix of pride and amusement as she watched the bustle of activity below. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" a familiar voice said beside her. Nyx turned to see Ambassador Zara Kamal, now serving as Earth's senior representative to the Galactic Council. "Indeed it is," Nyx replied, her multifaceted eyes taking in the scene. "I never imagined Earth would change so much in such a short time." Below them, the station's grand promenade was alive with a diversity of life forms. Humans mingled freely with aliens of all shapes and sizes. A group of Arcturian energy beings floated past, engaged in animated discussion with human physicists about the nature of dark matter. Nearby, a Zylaxian chef was introducing a crowd of eager humans to the finer points of chromatophore cuisine. "We've come a long way," Zara said, a note of pride in her voice. "But it hasn't all been smooth sailing, has it?" Nyx's scales flickered in agreement. The integration of humanity into the galactic community had indeed been a roller coaster ride, a concept Nyx had become all too familiar with thanks to her human friends. There had been challenges, of course. The introduction of advanced alien technologies had initially caused economic upheaval on Earth. Some humans struggled to adapt to the idea that they were no longer alone in the universe, leading to the rise of isolationist movements. But for every obstacle, humanity's inherent adaptability and creativity found a solution. The economic crisis spurred a renaissance of human ingenuity, as enterprising individuals found ways to combine Earth technologies with alien advancements, creating hybrid innovations that were soon in demand across the galaxy. Earth's environmental issues, once thought insurmountable, were being addressed with the help of alien terraforming techniques. The great trash gyres in the oceans were being cleaned up by swarms of nanobots, while carbon scrubbers in the atmosphere were slowly reversing the effects of climate change. "Remember the Proxima incident?" Zara asked, breaking Nyx out of her reverie. Nyx's scales darkened at the memory. Just 2 years ago, a misunderstanding between human colonists and the native life forms of Proxima Centauri had nearly escalated into the first interstellar war involving Earth. It was a stark reminder of the challenges that came with humanity's rapid expansion into space. "How could I forget?" Nyx replied. "I thought for sure it would end in disaster. But then we saw the best of humanity," Zara finished with a smile. In a display of diplomacy that had astounded the Galactic Council, the human negotiators had managed to not only avoid conflict, but establish a symbiotic relationship with the Proximans. It turned out that the very qualities that made Earth a death world, its diverse and aggressive biosphere, had given humans unique insights into managing complex ecosystems. Now, Proxima Centauri was home to a thriving joint society, with humans and Proximans working together to terraform the planet into a lush, habitable world. It had become a model for cooperative colonization efforts across the galaxy. "You know," Nyx said, her scales shifting to a thoughtful blue, "when we first discovered Earth, I never imagined it would become the linchpin of galactic society." Zara laughed. "I don't think anyone could have predicted it, but here we are, at the forefront of a new age of exploration and discovery." It was true. Humanity's insatiable curiosity and drive to explore had invigorated the entire galactic community. Long-established species were venturing out of their comfort zones, inspired by the human spirit of adventure. Scientific progress was advancing at an unprecedented rate, fueled by the unique perspectives humans brought to age-old problems. "Captain Starweaver, Ambassador Kamal," a voice interrupted. They turned to see Dr. Aisha Patel, now heading the United Earth Space Agency. "The ceremony is about to begin." They made their way to the station's grand auditorium, filled to capacity with representatives from across the galaxy. At the center of the stage stood a strange device, a mix of gleaming alien technology and unmistakably human design elements. High Counselor Zixnath's crystalline form glowed brightly as it addressed the assembly. "Today, we stand on the brink of a new era of exploration. Thanks to the combined efforts of human ingenuity and galactic knowledge, we are about to take our first step into intergalactic travel." A hush fell over the crowd as Dr. Paddle stepped forward to activate the device. It hummed to life, projecting a massive hologram of the local galactic cluster. The Andromeda Initiative, Dr. Patil announced, her voice filled with excitement, will send joint teams of humans and other galactic species on a journey to our nearest galactic neighbor. We will cross the vast intergalactic void, carrying with us the spirit of cooperation and discovery that has brought us all together. As the auditorium erupted in cheers and various alien expressions of approval, Nyx felt a swell of emotion. Her scales rippled through a kaleidoscope of colors, reflecting the complexity of her feelings. "It's incredible, isn't it?" Zara said, her eyes shining with unshed tears of joy. "From a single world, against all odds, to the stars, and now to other galaxies." Nyx nodded, her multifaceted eyes taking in the scene of jubilation around them. Humans and aliens alike were celebrating together, united in their excitement for the future. "You humans never cease to amaze me," Nyx said, her voice filled with warmth. "You've faced every challenge, every setback, with that unique blend of determination, creativity, and, what do you call it? Ah, yes, moxie." Zara laughed. "Well, Captain, that's just how we roll on a Class 13 Deathworld." As they watched the holographic display of the Andromeda Galaxy, Nyx reflected on the journey that had brought them all to this point. From the initial shock of discovering life on an impossible world to the integration of humanity into the galactic community, it had been an adventure beyond anything she could have imagined. The galaxy, no, the universe, would never be the same. And as Captain Nyx Starweaver stood there, surrounded by the spirit of unity and exploration that humanity had ignited, she knew that the greatest adventures were still to come. In the vast cosmic arena, humanity had not just found its place among the stars. It had become a beacon of resilience, innovation, and hope, lighting the way forward for all sentient life. The children of Earth, born on a world that should have defeated them, were now reaching out to touch the very edges of creation. And the universe, it seemed, couldn't wait to see what they would do next.